Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right, we're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go!
I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
Levi and Ivy gazed out their front window, waiting patiently for the mail to arrive. Well, as patiently as two young kids can wait for a piece of mail to arrive that could change their entire lives forever. It was only 2 weeks ago that Levi and Ivy had entered Mr. Crunch's Super Snack Taster Contest at the grocery store down the street from their house. Mr. Crunch was not only an amazing snack-creating genius, but he was also super cool and someone that every kid in the neighborhood wanted to meet. He created new salty, sugary, fizzy, icy, and fabulous snacks all day long at his huge factory at the edge of town. Mr. Crunch was very supportive of their community and was always donating his tasty snacks for the kids to have at their school parties, sports events, and parades. And it wasn't just the kids that loved Mr. Crunch's super snacks. A lot of parents did too. Whoever won the Mr. Crunch Super Snack Taster Contest would get a chance to take a tour of his factory and taste all the new snacks he'd been working on before anyone else. And as excited as Levi and Ivy were about the possibility of meeting Mr. Crunch and touring his factory, their dad was just as excited. Hey, did the mailman stop by yet? Said Levi and Ivy's dad, peering out the front window as well. Nothing yet, Dad, replied Levi. Yeah, we've been looking out the window all morning, added Ivy. Well, I'm sure he'll be here any minute, said their dad. And when he does, he'll be dropping off a letter that says, I won the Mr. Crunch Super Snack Taster Contest. Dad, what do you mean you won the contest? Snapped Levi. You don't know for sure. Levi or I could win, added Ivy as the low rumble of the mail truck could be heard driving up the street. I'm sorry. You're right, said their dad. And as long as someone from this family gets to meet Mr. Crunch and tour that factory, I'll be happy. And if it's me, I'd tell him all about my idea for singing soda. Fizzy floating bubbles that serenade you as you sip. Pretty catchy tagline, right? But to be honest, Levi and Ivy were no longer paying attention to their dad as they heard the mail truck getting closer and closer. Just then, their dad noticed it too and ran up to the front door. The three of them then raced to the mailbox just as the mail truck was pulling up. Wow, I've never seen anyone this excited to get their mail before, said the mailman. Makes a mail carrier feel good. Here you go, and have a great day. The mailman handed a stack of mail to Levi and Ivy's dad and drove off. Levi and Ivy and their dad had just stood in the front yard by the street for a second, too nervous to look through the stack of mail to see if there was a letter in there from the Mr. Crunch. Because as long as they didn't look, there was still hope that one of them was the winner. But they couldn't go on like that for much longer and decided to go inside and take a look together. Once inside, they spread out all the mail on the dining room table and one by one searched for the famous Mr. Crunch logo on the envelopes. And after what seemed like an eternity of searching, they saw it, sticking out from behind an advertisement card for a new restaurant and a coupon for half off their next large pizza. There it is, called out Ivy as she grabbed the envelope and hugged it tight. So one of us is going to Mr. Crunch's factory, yelled Levi. One of us won the Super Snack Taster Contest! As Levi and their dad looked on, Ivy rested the envelope back on the dining room table. She had it face down so they couldn't see yet who was the winner of the contest. I think we should turn it over and look together on the count of 3, suggested Levi, looking a bit nervous. Sounds good to me, said Levi and Ivy's dad. Okay, ready. 1, 2, 3, said Levi and Ivy and their dad all together. Once they flipped over the envelope, it took everyone only a second to see who the winner was. It's me, I won the contest, shouted Ivy. At that point, her mom ran into the dining room. What's all the commotion about? She asked as she looked at the envelope and quickly realized that Ivy was the winner of the Super Snack Taster Contest. Levi and his dad were silent for only a second before joining Ivy and jumping all over the dining room with excitement. That's amazing! Congratulations, Ivy, said their dad. giving her a big hug. "Yeah, that's amazing," added Levi, sounding a little less enthusiastic. And it was easy to understand why he felt that way, since he really wanted to win as well, but he was still happy for his sister. Ivy didn't waste any time tearing open the envelope and reading what was inside. It said, "Congratulations to you, the lucky winner of the Mr. Crunch Super Snack Taster Contest. As the winner, you are invited to tour my factory and taste never before seen or heard of Mr. Crunch Super Snacks before anyone else. But feasting on super tasty snacks is always better with a friend. So as the winner of the contest, you are allowed to bring one person along to enjoy the tour with you. I can't wait to see you soon. Your super snack creator, Mr. Crunch." Ivy could not believe what she was reading. Levi and their dad were both very excited when they heard the news. It was a total surprise. No one knew that the winner was going to be allowed to bring a guest until right then. "So," said Levi, smiling and nudging Ivy with his elbow, "do you know who you're going to take with you?" Ivy's excitement and happiness quickly turned to confusion. She knew both Levi and her dad really wanted to go to Mr. Crunch's factory, so she had a big decision to make. But before she could give it any other thought, her dad leaned over and said, "Ivy, don't worry about me. Of course you're going to take Levi with you, and you're both going to have the best time ever. I can't wait to hear all about it." Levi jumped up and gave his dad a huge hug. "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you," Levi said over and over again. "I can't believe I'm going to meet Mr. Crunch." Ivy hugged her dad, thanked him so much for making her decision so easy. "We'll be sure not to leave out one little detail when we tell you all about our tour," said Ivy as she looked at her dad. The only thing left to do then was get ready to go, because the factory tour was the very next morning at 8 a.m. Levi and Ivy hardly slept that night, and the car ride to Mr. Crunch Snack Factory seemed to take forever. But once they arrived, it was greater than they could have ever imagined. Levi and Ivy's mom and dad walked them up the huge walkway in front of the factory towards two massive doors painted to look like giant popsicles. And right before they could even knock, one of the giant popsicles swung open, and waiting on the other side was none other than Mr. Crunch himself. "Hello!" boomed a giant voice as a man in a neon green suit wearing a hat that looked like an upside-down ice cream cone greeted Levi, Ivy, and their parents at the door. "You must be Ivy." He was quite tall and bent down as far as he could to shake Ivy's hand. "Yes, I am," answered Ivy. "And this is my brother Levi and my parents. I'm so excited that I won your Super Snack Taster Contest, and I chose my brother Levi to be my special guest." "Hi, Mr. Crunch," said Levi, almost too excited to speak. "We can't wait to get started." "Have a great time," said Levi and Ivy's parents after giving their kids a hug and heading back down the giant walkway. "We'll pick you up later this afternoon." But before they could leave, Levi ran after his dad and thanked him one more time for letting him go on the tour. Then he turned around and ran back to join Ivy. As they entered the factory, they finally could see just how magical and spectacular it truly was. Pictures of Mr. Crunch's best-selling snacks hung all over the factory walls, larger than life. Different doorways were spread out all around, with them labeled with signs like Salty Station, The Cool Corner, and Fizzy Factory. "The best place to start is right here," said Mr. Crunch as he pointed to the door labeled Salty Station. "Let's get this tour going. Just follow me and get ready to taste the best snacks you've ever had." Levi and Ivy looked at each other with huge smiles on their faces. It all felt like a dream, and they had to keep reminding themselves that this was actually real life. They didn't want to miss a thing, so they focused in and got ready for an amazing snack-filled day. "Now follow close behind. I wouldn't want either of you to miss a thing," said Mr. Crunch. "The first room we'll visit is filled with my greatest potato chips, pretzels, and cheesy snack creations. I'm open to any suggestions or ideas you have as we go, so let me know exactly what you think." Ivy and Levi were ready for that assignment and each grabbed a bag of Mr. Crunch's newest creation. It was a bag of potato chips shaped like unicorns. They were salty, but also had a hint of strawberry. It was an unusual taste, but one that Ivy could not get enough of. Mr. Crunch," said Ivy quietly, "your unicorn chips are really good, but I have an idea that could make them better." "Speak up, Ivy. I love to hear all kinds of ideas. No matter how wild or imaginative your food idea is, it's important to give it a try. Embrace your creativity, and more often than not, it turns out to be a great idea." And if not, then at least you learned what not to do, exclaimed Mr. Crunch with a smile. He grabbed a clipboard from the table nearby and was ready to hear Ivy. Well, I was thinking if you dusted the unicorn-shaped potato chips with a few rainbow sprinkles, it could really bring out the strawberry taste, began Ivy. And salty and sweet treats are always great together. Ivy, said Mr. Crunch before pausing for what seemed like forever. That's a wonderful idea! Munchbots, come out here! Mr. Crunch called for his special helpers, the Munchbots, to take Ivy's idea and run with it. Wow, Ivy, did you think we'd get to see the famous Munchbots? Because I sure didn't, said Levi, watching as the team of workers hustled out of the salty station to work on Ivy's idea. Mr. Crunch then escorted Levi and Ivy into the next room of his factory called the Sweetest Sweets. And you guessed it, this room was filled with candies, cookies, and chocolates as far as the eye could see. This time, Levi was the first to taste the newest snack treat and couldn't believe what he was tasting. This is amazing, Mr. Crunch, said Levi as he nibbled the new candy that changed flavors as you chewed. It tastes like lemon. Now it tastes like cherry. And now it tastes like chocolate cake? Amazing! I'm glad you like it, Levi, said Mr. Crunch. But is there any way I could make it better? Levi thought for a minute and then said, what if you added a flavor-changing center into the candy that complemented the flavor-changing layers on the outside, like lime with lemon, vanilla with cherry, and ice cream with the chocolate cake? A truly inspired idea, young man, said Mr. Crunch as he wrote down the suggestion. I love it. Levi and Ivy then followed Mr. Crunch into the cool corner where they saw more ice cream and popsicles than they ever knew existed. Ivy grabbed Mr. Crunch's newest popsicle and chomped away. As she was eating, she noticed the popsicle had many layers, like the pages of a book. Mr. Crunch, why not write a story within the popsicle? Suggested Ivy. So each layer is a page of the story, and as you lick the layers, you can read the whole story. Storytime popsicles? Genius, called out Mr. Crunch. Munchbots, here's another idea for you. And don't forget Levi's double flavor burst candy chews either. As the day went on, Levi and Ivy tasted one super snack after another until finally they reached the last room in Mr. Crunch's factory. Here we are at the last stop on our tour, the Fizzy Factory, said Mr. Crunch. Filled to the ceiling with every soda you could ever imagine, and even some you wouldn't want to imagine, like meatloaf. That was a bad idea, but I wouldn't have known if I didn't try. As Levi and Ivy tasted some sodas, they found some they liked and some they didn't. But when Levi tasted one of his favorites, he remembered his dad's very own super snack idea. Mr. Crunch, this soda is so good it makes me want to sing, said Levi. My dad always had this great idea for a soda that plays music as you drink it. You could call it Singing Soda, and the tagline could be, fizzy, floating bubbles that serenade you as you sip. Just then, Ivy turned around and heard what Levi was saying. That's Dad's idea, she said with a smile. You're so nice to try and get Mr. Crunch to make Dad's super snack dream come true. It's worth a try, said Levi. And just like that, their other ideas, Mr. Crunch loved it. Singing soda has such a great ring to it, said Mr. Crunch. I'd drink that for sure. Since it was almost time to go, Mr. Crunch walked Ivy and Levi back to the front door where their parents were waiting to take them home. They said their goodbyes before Mr. Crunch told them to keep an eye on the snack aisle at their local grocery store because he had a special surprise for them. That night, Levi and Ivy told their parents about all the amazing snacks they tried and the ideas they gave to Mr. Crunch. I even told him about your singing soda idea, Dad, said Levi, and he really liked it. Wow, Levi, that was really nice of you, said his dad, giving him a big hug. I guess we just need to watch the snack shelves at the grocery store now to see if it becomes an actual Mr. Crunch super snack. And that's just what they did. Day after day, for about a week, Levi, Ivy, and their dad walked up and down the snack aisles in the grocery store looking to see if any of their new ideas had been made into the next super snack sensation. Then, one day, it happened. They walked down the candy aisle, and there they were. Levi's double flavor burst candy chews. Wow, that's incredible, exclaimed Levi. Mr. Crunch used my idea. I have a candy named after me. Next, they ran over to the ice cream freezers and saw Ivy's storytime popsicles. I have my own popsicles, Levi! Shouted Ivy. How cool is that? There was only one other place they really wanted to check, and that was the soda aisle. They all ran over there as quickly as they could to find a group of people standing around a giant Mr. Crunch display board that read, Dad's Delicious Singing Soda. No way! Shouted Levi and Ivy's dad with excitement. Levi, you did it! You made my super snack dream come true! I have my very own soda. That's great, Dad, and I bet it tastes amazing, said Levi, picking up a bottle to take home, along with his bag of his candy and a box of Ivy's popsicles. I can't believe Mr. Crunch used all of our ideas, said Levi and Ivy's dad on a walk home. They were really wild and unique, but he believed in them. That's pretty great. It's just like Mr. Crunch told me at the factory, Ivy said. No matter how wild or imaginative your food idea is, it's important to give it a try. Embrace your creativity, and more often than not, it turns out to be a great idea. And if not, then at least you learned what not to do. Ivy, Levi, and their dad walked home that day enjoying their very own super snacks, having learned that super dreams do come true. Want to start a podcast? Spotify has an easy free platform called Spotify for Podcasters. Here's how it works. Record and edit your podcast on your phone or computer with ease. Share your podcast on Spotify and all other major platforms. You can even make video podcasts on Spotify. If you want to engage with your audience more, use Q&A and polls. You can earn money through ads and podcast subscriptions. It's completely free, no hidden cost. Give it a try. Visit www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. We love making our podcast, and working with Spotify has been amazing. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun, Lively Lewis story with you.